Hello everyone, welcome to this podcast on the prevention of violence against children. Today we're going to speak about something that I'm sure many of you relate with. Some of you are for it, others think it's the wrong thing to do, while others have their justification why it should happen. But I'm sure that when you listen in with a team of experts, they'll be able to kind of unpack it for us. What does it mean? What do we do differently? Is it even harmful? Or it is something that we should just continue doing? And that is the subject of corporal punishment around or against children. So today we're going to explore more on what this corporal punishment is. What does it entail? Is it even harmful? Is it something that we should continue doing? But also looking at it, if we consider corporal punishment a problem, what else can we do? How can we discipline children without using corporal punishment? And that will be the concept of positive discipline. My name is Hope Wambi and I work with Raising Voices. At Raising Voices, we've been working to prevent violence against children in schools, preventing violence against women for over 20 years. And before we go any further, I would like to ask my team of experts who are here today to introduce themselves. And I'll start with you, Timothy.
Thank you. My name is Timothy Opobo. I work with the AfriChild Center.
Thank you, Timothy. And over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Mariam Nachinj. A long-serving teacher and a head teacher of Emirates College School, Kowe.
Hello everyone, I'm called Yvonne Laruni and I work at Raising Voices.
Thank you so much. It's different people from different walks. We are really happy to have you today. I'm sure teachers are listening. People like Timothy who work with the civil society organizations are listening. People like Yvonne are listening. And I'm sure some of us might actually be mothers. We would like to delve deeper into the conversation. Now, I'll start with you, Yvonne. Worldwide, corporal punishment is considered to be the most common form of violence against children. Could you please help us unpack what corporal punishment entails and what it means?
Thank you so much, Hope, for that question. You know, while growing up in school, I thought corporal punishment was about digging anthills, filling a 20-liter jerrycan with a spoon, standing under the sun for over 12 hours. But in this work, while doing this work with schools and teachers, over time, I have actually learned that corporal punishment is any punishment that is intended to cause physical pain. It doesn't matter the degree, however light, as long as it's intended to cause physical pain, it's corporal punishment. And so this includes things like slapping, kicking, beating, pinching, but the most common we see in our schools here in Uganda is actually caning. But I've also learned that corporal punishment can actually be non-physical. It can be any non-physical form of punishment that belittles, humiliates, threatens, or degrades a child. So this can be things like insulting, threatening the child, asking the child to stand up in front of the class with the intention of humiliating them. So anything that degrades the dignity of this child, it doesn't have to be physical. It can also be non-physical, and that too is corporal punishment. And the reason we put all this together in the same basket is at the end of the day, they all have the same effect on the child.
Wow. Thank you so much for unpacking that. And I would like to turn to you, Timothy. Every 30th of April, the international community commemorates the International Day to End Corporal Punishment Against Children. How big is this problem?
Yeah, thank you, Hope. And I think as just speaking on what Yvonne just shared, it's first of all, it's a global problem, but more predominant, unfortunately, in Africa and specifically in Sub-Saharan Africa. It's a pattern that is seen in many of our schools, but maybe also to add that it's also not limited to schools. It's a way that we have been socialized to believe that we should discipline children, particularly, as Yvonne said, the caning aspect. In terms of magnitude, corporal punishment is the most common form. In fact, across Africa, you'll find that over 80% of children, especially in schools, have experienced corporal punishments. And if I zero it down to where we are here in Uganda, it still stands out as the most common form of punishment. We have seen progress, and I think we are now at about 79%, which is still not a good thing. It's still very negative with regards to children. So it's really to say it's a big problem, and it's really something we need to address as a country and as a region.
It's actually a global concern. It's an issue of global concern. Thank you so much. Now, Timothy, saying that it's a big problem, it is indeed big, but are there some consequences for people who use corporal punishment, for the students who experience corporal punishment on a daily? What kind of consequences, come along?
So I think the consequences are short-term, the immediate consequences, there are mid-term consequences, and then there are long-term consequences. We have seen certain devastating impact from corporal punishment, going even as far as death of children, where a child has been beaten or inflicted a punishment that leads to death. So death is something that has happened and continues to happen, but also, the fear and emotional stability of children. So corporal punishment leads to a lot of fear among the learners, and many of the learners then drop out of school, even just because of fear of corporal punishment. So you have a high school dropout rate, like here in Uganda, and when you interrogate further, you'll find that there is a link to corporal punishment. Long-term consequences, we have learned as we continue to do this work that corporal punishment really does not change behavior. What it does is it stimulates fear. So the learners may not actually do what they are doing or do what is right out of conviction or out of understanding, but rather because they are afraid of this corporal punishment. And so later in life, when this corporal punishment is taken away, then they are unable to continue to do what they should do right. And we see it in our day-to-day life, whether it is in our work ethics that we see, whether it's discipline on the road. But that comes from the orientation that even in school, they would not go to class in time or early unless a teacher stood out with a stick. So there is a direct relationship, and it's something that we need to address.
Mariam, it would be great to hear your perspective. How have you experienced this in the schools? What are you seeing?
The kind of behavior we are training these learners to be in future, within their homes, the way they will be treating their kids and wives or husbands, and then the neighbors. Why should we think that violence should be a solution? So to me, I think corporal punishments really have negative consequences, and we need to do away with them.
Thank you so much, Mariam.
But also hope.
That's right. Yes, Yvonne.
Additionally to the relationships, not only relationships in future, but even in the school themselves, where the kids are still in school, if they don't have good teacher-student relationship because of the corporal punishment, it has a lot of diverse effects, even on their own learning, their attendance of school. There are kids who are not attending school because of the relationships, and these relationships are coming as a result of the corporal punishment. So I think corporal punishment is really more of a social thing. It's a norm, it's a belief, it's something that we have been socialized with. We grew up experiencing it. Some people are using it because they feel, okay, if this had not happened, I wouldn't be like this. Somewhere I was talking to teachers somewhere in Uganda, and a teacher said, when I meet the teacher who beat me the most, I give him soda. And I buy him a kilogram of sugar, and I say, thank you for beating me. I wouldn't be where I am today. And I was telling that teacher that actually you might have even become better if you were supported, if you were encouraged, if you were nurtured. You would have even been better, but you don't realize that because you believe that this caning is what made you who you are. So people give lots of justifications. The Christians might tell you we are picking from the Bible, the book of Proverbs, that says spare the rod and spoil the child. And then when you translate it to Uganda, it even becomes worse. It says sulo mugo oyonono mwana, literally the stick. But when we go back to this Bible and look at this rod, we keep asking teachers, who was using this rod? When you go back to the Bible, who was using the rod? We find people like Moses using the rod. We find people like the shepherds using the rod. We find the leaders using the rod. What does that signify? Indeed, do not spare the rod. But this rod is a symbol of leadership. It's a symbol of your authority, your responsibility as a parent. So every parent has a responsibility to nurture, to raise. But that does not necessarily mean you're beating this child, you know? And then that rod also had a hook. If you look at the rod, when I see the Good News Bibles, which usually have pictures, there's a hook somewhere. So that hook is to bring back this sheep that is going astray. But it's not for hitting, for torturing, you know, and for being cruel to the child. So as adults who are in the care of these children, we have that responsibility. And so we shouldn't forget that. So we shouldn't justify that scripture to be torturing and hitting and beating the children. We have a responsibility to discipline these children. How we discipline them is really what matters. Then others will tell you things like, it's okay, give a little bit.
Just one.
Just don't overdo it. Make sure you explain to the child, ask them to lie down, give on the bam bam, on the leg, don't hit the head, make sure you don't injure the child. And we'll tell them, that may seem okay, but have you thought about the consequence? When we are talking about corporal punishment, it's not even about the action. It's about the consequences. Even that which seems so small has an effect on this child. And we've seen people give a slap and the child faints.
Exactly.
Sometimes you've intended to give one, and then while you're going to give, the child holds the stick. And then what happens? It becomes a fight. So you're fighting, it becomes a shouting ring. And most of our teachers and parents and us adults who are dealing with children, we don't know how to self-regulate. So when the child holds the stick like that, then anger. So then you start hitting this child everywhere. But the intention was one. So let's look at the effect, not the one or the two, but let's look at the effect. So there are so many like justifications people give, but at the end of the day, there's really, when you look through you and look at this, you really realize there is no need to use corporal punishment. And the teachers, these things remain with the child. There's a 6-year-old I was talking to, and this child says, I will never forget. It happened last year. The teacher tore my book because I didn't know how to read. I didn't read well. The teacher tore my book, slapped me, and ashamed me in front of the whole class. This teacher has moved on. She loves the child. Every time she meets the child, oh, thank you, last year I performed well, buys her a sweet. But the child, this experience lives with them forever. So when we're talking about the justifications that people give, whether it is small, whether it is you're using it as a last resort, others will tell you, I have talked, I have disciplined, we have done meetings, but the child is still misbehaving, you know? And then you ask them, okay, after you've caned and the child does not stop misbehaving, then what? You kill, you know? So there is no such thing as it will come in as a last resort. Corporal punishment is corporal punishment, however light, whether as a last resort, whether you're giving biblical references, and there is no justification for using it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you next time, same place.